Warning. If you think this is one of those religious and mythical sermons,
فيا عباد الله اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. Dear brothers and sisters, Alhamdulillah, today we got a grain of rice to feed a homeless chicken.
you're clearly mistaken. This show is for the Muslim hustler who is sick of hearing all that. We're just gonna say it as it is and keep it real.
Today we have another interesting topic. It is one of the most controversial and misunderstood topics of Islam. We're gonna talk about polygamy. We'll be answering many interesting questions about marriage. Why is polygamy encouraged in Islam? What is the real objective of it? Why is the modern day application of it so damn twisted? We will look at them from a business perspective and much more. None of the mythical stuff here as always. We're hustlers here. We're gonna keep it real. Hi, welcome to the show. This is a big topic we got today, so I would appreciate your close attention. It is impossible to talk about polygamy without having an image of an Arabian or an African king in mind. A typical stereotype of a wealthy man in that region. They all have many wives. But that's not what makes the topic so interesting and controversial. What makes it controversial is the fact that it has been taught wrongly over the years, and therefore immensely abused and twisted and misunderstood. It is so damn disgusting to see some of the things happening today, especially those who are using religion as an excuse to justify their nasty doings. I use the word excuse here because there's no reason that justifies their shit. Before we talk about polygamy, let's get the basics out of the way. First, we need to understand what marriage in Islam is. I'll be using an example of a company or a corporation in this topic. It is easier to relate to since most of us are working and aware of company structures and whatnot. So, you'll get my drift. According to the dictionary, the definition of marriage is the legally recognized union of a couple in a relationship. That's an incomplete definition in my opinion. Marriage is way bigger than that. My definition of it is more accurate. A marriage is a declaration of unity between the two families represented by the two individuals of the opposite gender. And with that comes a lot of responsibilities, not just between the couple, but between the families as well, the in-laws. Now, in the corporate world, we call it a joint venture. So a marriage is a joint venture in a way that two different companies jointly contribute resources into a single company or an SPV and share its profits together. And just like in marriage, it's not all about money. Time, expertise, intellectual properties, networks have value in the venture. Okay, so just a technical point to make here. A joint venture is not to be confused with joint operations. These are two different things. Let me know in the comments section if you know the difference between the two. Between joint venture and joint operations, JV and JO, two different things. I'm going to explain step by step the process of a successful joint venture and marriage, killing two birds with one stone, so listen carefully. Let's get down to business. Like in marriage, every company initially have to do some homework and background checking on each other. They call it KYC, know your customer, know your counterparty, know your client. The objective at this stage is to have a clear picture of each other to find common grounds. This is the key to every relationship, both business and marriage. During this period, non-disclosure is to be held by default in both cases. Once both parties are satisfied, they officially start with a proposal. This is when the guy goes down on one knee and asks the $1 million question. Will you marry me? Guys, make sure you have a kick-ass presentation if you want your client to say yes and sign that $1 million investment. Why investment? Initially, you will lose. Growth will come later. So, if she says yes, both parties will then sign a simple agreement called the Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU. This is like the engagement before marriage. And just like the engagement, an MOU is non-binding in nature. She's just your fiancée. She's not your wife yet. Now here comes the toughest part of the deal. This is when shit gets really serious. This is when the official negotiations start. And just like in business, most relationships fail at this stage for the same damn 5 reasons. Number 1, paying attention and responding to rumors. I heard that you secretly had a meeting with our competitor. I heard that you're not serious in the deal. I heard that you're just fishing around. If you're gonna listen and respond to each and every one of them, you're wasting your time. Number 2, ego. Why didn't he copy me in the email? He must get my blessings first. Why must we go there? Why not they come to us? And all this crap. Number 3, arguing about petty things. I want the logo to be black and gold. No, I want it to be white and blue. I want the theme of the party to be oriental. I want to have it in a hotel ballroom, not by the beach. And all those nonsense, forgetting the whole point of the entire venture. Number 4, unrealistic expectations. Since they're a big company, I want them to pay for the signing ceremony, and the guests, and their air tickets, and the hotel stay, including ours. They need us more than they need them. Number 5, greed. Greed. Speaks for itself, no explanations needed. The worst thing you can ever do is to start the marriage on a huge debt. So after all that grind, both parties finally come to an agreement. There will be the official JV signing ceremony. This is the nikah, when pen is on paper and commitment is official and the world is witnessing the historical event. Then comes the after-party celebration. That is the wedding reception. And just like with your wedding, not everyone is a satisfied guest. Not every guest wants to be there. All them haters will talk and bitch about petty things while they're smiling and congratulating you. This is when you see hypocrisy at its best. Now, at this point, does anyone know how long the venture will last? Is the venture going to be a success or a failure? Nobody knows. There's no expiry date in a joint venture agreement. As long as the business is running, the agreement is effective. Exactly the case with marriage. But one thing I know for sure, there will be disagreements. There will be turbulence. There will be politics involved. But as long as the company is well managed, respects its leadership, works together as a team, do what they have to do until they do what they want to, the smallest startup might even outlive you. It's all done in good faith. It's time to work on it. Now let's fast forward. 5 years later, your business grows, you have a few subsidiaries, and your subsidiaries are growing. It is not as exciting as it used to be. Naturally, you'll start thinking of diversification. You get what I mean? And you come across a new yet promising company. Well built, well structured, explodingly hot. It is better than your current venture. You look at your current business, every small mole seems like a mountain to you. Every pebble is a rock. But you can't just let go of it. And the more you engage with a new company, the more you like it and find it fascinating. You're just in love with it. The company is looking for a new partner. You start thinking, I don't want to miss this opportunity. It's once in a lifetime. No way I'm gonna miss it. Enter polygamy. So what is polygamy? Polygamy is when a man has more than one wife concurrently at the same time. Before I start elaborating, there's one point I must make it very clear. Polygamy is not a new phenomenon created by Islam and Muslims. It was going on long before that. Let's not forget, Mecca was a paganism hub where people used to travel there from all over the world for pilgrimage and idol worshipping. And it was common for a man to have more than one wife during that period. It was a symbol of wealth and high social status. Now, having that in mind, wouldn't it be odd if we were to say that polygamy is permissible in Islam if you are wealthy? Or if you can afford it? If yes, then polygamy becomes exclusive to the rich, and that brings us back to Jahiliyyah time, which Islam came to abolish. Is that the objective? Clearly not. What is the objective then? Is it lust? Since you can't have sex with anyone else except for your wife? So you marry another one and make her your wife so that you two can have sex with each other? And once you're done, you divorce. I'm talking about nikah mut'ah here. This is what's happening now. It is becoming like halal prostitution. And here's the worst part. Their twisted justification is that it complies with all the conditions of a marriage which the religion requires. What the fuck? You're finding loopholes against God. You know, they're saying like you have witnesses, she's not forced into it, the handshake and all of that. Bloody hell, if you already know that the marriage has an expiry date, how different is it from prostitution? The procedures? Obviously not. Islam is way bigger than that, for God's sake. We're talking religion here, not culture. Religion applies to both humans and ghosts. So, if it's not for the rich to flaunt their wealth, and it's not for lust, then why does Islam encourage it? Now this is when you have to listen carefully. Remember, the objective of polygamy is not for the individual. It is for society. Social balancing. Every woman needs a man, every child needs a father. That is the purpose of polygamy. Not for the individual, but for the society. Okay? So when did Islam encourage it? It was after they returned home from a war and many widows lost their husbands in battle. Prophet Muhammad realized this was going to be a social disaster. Who will guide these children? Who will protect them? Women will have to sell themselves to feed their children. Women will have to beg in the streets or steal to feed herself and her children. These families will be very vulnerable and will definitely resort to crime. This will destroy other families. Kids will grow up to be criminals. This is why Islam encourages it. Not for selfish reasons, but for social reasons. So let me make one thing clear. That was not the time when Islam allowed polygamy. That was the time when Islam encourages polygamy. It was never prohibited in the first place. Islam just regulated it so it does not become a mess like how it is today. Today, there are many children who are born because of their mothers were forced into tourist marriage just to survive. These idiot guys go all the way there and secretly get married for the period while they are there, and then go back to their country leaving their wife behind pregnant with his child. And when he dies, who will fight for the child's right of inheritance? This is why the modern day polygamy is so twisted. It is becoming halal prostitution. So fucking twisted. So, if Islam regulates polygamy, shouldn't there be a criteria? There must be a criteria to hold the integrity of the objective. So here's the criteria for you. The first priority of choice of women. She must be a divorcee or a widow with children. And I'm talking here about your second, third, fourth wives. So fellas, listen out. Second priority, a divorcee or a widow without children. Leave them virgins for the virgins. It's sick to see a 70-year-old grandpa marrying an 18-year-old girl. But here's the good news, fellas. Whoever tells you that you need to be totally 100% fair between your wives does not know what he's talking about. That's not what Allah says. Don't let him take you for a ride. Allah clearly mentioned in the Quran that He doesn't put two hearts in a man's chest. مَا جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لِرَجُلٍ مِّن قَلْبَيْنِ فِي جَوْفِهِ. All you have to do is to try your best. Try your best. That is what He is asking you to do. What He is asking you to do is to be fair to the children. Her children from her previous marriage is equal to your own child. That is what Allah is asking. This is a requirement. If you can't do this, then polygamy is not for you. I hope by now you realize that polygamy is not for men to enjoy more than women. In fact, it adds responsibilities to him. And ladies, you should be happy when your husband informs you that he will get married to his number 2, 3 or 4. There's nothing stopping him from doing it if God gives him the green light. Just make sure he is doing it for the right reason, for the reasons mentioned here. He doesn't need your permission to do so. You know when they told you that there's a golden umbrella in heaven, it will be for those women who allow their husbands to marry another? It is for those who full-heartedly accept it and sacrificing herself for the greater good of society. It is difficult, I know, but with all great prizes and great rewards, they don't come easy. Just like in business, for everything there's a cost to it, and there's a way to get it, and you will eventually get it. Just don't try to cheat. Okay, so that's it from us today. I hope you've enjoyed it and gained a new perspective. Please don't forget to share this episode with someone you know. It helps spread the message. And leave me a suggestion in the comments section on which topic you want to hear about in my next episode. Share your thoughts with me on how's polygamy like in your country, where you're from, and what's your funny polygamy story. Everyone enjoys a good laugh for sure. Also, follow us on Instagram at mithqal.media, MITHQAL.media, and tag us with your photos. Like, subscribe, do the bell thingy if on YouTube. I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, keep hustling.